Oh my God, hello!
You look super tan. I know that you were just on vacay. You look gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I was in Palm Springs. I tanned so much. I was just like laying out in the sun for so long.
That's what I need. I was doing my makeup before here. I'm like, I look really tan, but it's only the foundation. I need my own vacation.
You're like, hold on.
So, oh my God. Last night's episode was a heartbreaker. So before we go into that stuff,
girl.
you are just so damn good in this role. Let's go back in time a little bit. Talk to me about when you first heard about the role and when you got it.
Okay, so it's actually interesting because I feel like not a lot of people know this part of my audition process. I had no idea what role I was going in for when I went in for it. I didn't know what they were going to do with the role of Leti. I didn't know anything. Literally, I had no information. Even my sides for my audition, it was literally like 2 pages of a scene that's not even anywhere remotely to where Leti is now in the show or even was in the show before.
No way!
So it's so interesting because I was this close to not making it to the audition too, because I was at a producer session for another project and the window for auditioning was like this big and I was literally about to not make it. So it was crazy because I got there last minute. I was the last person that went into the room and yeah, it was so interesting. And it wasn't until later after I booked the show that Elgin came into my trailer and he had a conversation with me about where he wanted to take the character and the relationship between Leti and Coco. And that's when I was like, oh, so this is what they want to do. So yeah, that was super interesting. But obviously, I'm so grateful that I ended up getting the job because now we're like a big family and here we are. So yeah.
I mean, I love everyone on the show. You guys know that I'm a huge fan, but my Latinas are killing it, okay? My Latinas are killing it, and I love that you guys are not like these like side characters. You guys have like very powerful roles. They're just very powerful women, and this episode was heart-wrenching. And I was talking to Richard last week about it, and it's just like Coco is coming from this generational trauma of this cycle that he went through with his mother, and it's now repeating itself with Leti, which is so unfair. I want to hug Leti so much and all the time. So talk to me a little bit about that dynamic.
Of course. So at the beginning of season 1, obviously, I had no idea that Coco was my father. It was my understanding that he was my brother. So to me, that alone was like a huge shift in my life. And then eventually after that, our relationship started growing and things started getting better between us. And then it was kind of us. We were like, sidekicks, best friends, and we were really trying to make this work. So when this season opened in the first episode, it was like right off the bat, you can tell that there's already rocky stuff going on in their relationship. They're already fighting, they're arguing, they're bickering back at each other. So you can already tell that their relationship is going through a lot of turmoil since the beginning of the season. And for Leti, it's very hard because she already saw this. Like she already saw Celia go through this because Celia raised her too. So once she's already picking up on all of these abusive patterns and all of these toxic, addictive behaviors to her, it's like, there's no way that Coco's about to go down the same path that Celia went down through. And it's just like a very heartbreaking thing for her. So of course, she just wants to help. She just wants to be there for him. And in the midst of all her anger and all of the arguments and things that they say to each other, they obviously love each other. And the thing about Leti too is that she doesn't have anyone else. She literally only has Coco. And to her, to finally have somebody in her life that she felt like actually cared for her and loved her, it's a very big deal. So of course, that relationship is very precious for her. And it's very important that that remains intact in her life, because that's like the only source of love that Leti has in her life. So to see Coco go through all of this is very, very damaging to her. And we are at a spot in this episode, man. The ending was just crazy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but Leti just came through so powerful. Like, I feel like if that was me, I mean, who knows if you're put in these situations, but I feel like, oh my God, I would crawl into the fetal position and cry and not know what to do. But like, it's kind of also sad that Leti did know what to do, that what was happening. because this is very much her world. And like you're saying, I think that's something that people may not realize, because I didn't realize it really timing wise, but Richard just told me also that he hasn't even been a father, like a proper father figure, for not even a year at this point, right? From the time that, you know, they moved in together. It's not even been a year that he's been a father. So he's still very much, because of his trauma, a little boy, and they're kind of both growing together, but the addiction is killing him.
Of course. And that's the thing about both of them. They haven't been stepping into these roles for too long of a time. Like you said, Coco hasn't been a father for too long, and Leti hasn't been a daughter to Coco for too long either. So I think they're both on this journey, really trying to figure things out. And Leti also had her rocky moments at the beginning of the season, where she was reckless and being a killer and doing all these things. But at the same time, now she's really trying to step into the woman that she wants to be. She wants to have this relationship with Coco. She wants to have this home that they now share a household together. And that was a huge deal for her, because ever since season 1, she was always like, when are you going to get me out of Celia's house? You know, that scene that they have by the stairs. And it's just a big deal for her to go through this transitional process, but she didn't realize it was going to turn out like this for her, because the last thing she expected at this point in time from Coco was for him to go down this dark path that he's going down through.
And the only person who can save him is himself. And
that's the worst part. And it's crazy, because that's how it is in real life.
Not only with
addiction, but with any toxic situations with our loved ones or our friends. It's like, you can put your 2 cents in for people, and you can be there for them through their struggles, and you can give them advice and give them your perspective. But at the end of the day, you are the only one that can help yourself. And it sucks, because Leti cares so much for Coco, and no matter how many arguments they have, no matter how many F-bombs they throw at each other, or how many times they say they hate each other, there's so much love there between them. And it's like a toxic love, because she just wants to see him out of this darkness. And I'm excited for the rest of the season, for sure.
The question that I'm always asking myself is, who is Leti's mom?
Girl, I've been asking myself the same question.
So there's not a conversation at any point where it's like, okay, so this was her mom, and she's obviously not in the picture anymore, but like,
hey, maybe in some future seasons there might be a little something going on there. I guess people are just gonna have to keep watching to see if that ever gets brought up.
I would love to see a little bit more of that, and especially if, like, she's maybe a little bit more stable, and maybe that could be a good influence. I don't know. Is there an actress
dynamic? Yeah.
Is there like an actress that you would love to come in and play your mom?
Oh my God.
Like a dream cast, if this could happen.
I'm going to be so biased, because I'm absolutely in love with her, but Salma Hayek. The queen.
Salma Hayek and Coco.
Salma Hayek
one drunken night over
what a duo. A dynamic duo.
I actually really like that. I feel like Coco, like, I mean, obviously he's in his bad space right now, but when he's like, you know, not in addiction, like, he's a super cool, badass guy.
I know.
He's got swagger.
Yeah, he's got swag. And it's funny, because all the audience is tweeting that. They're like, oh, we want Coco back in his swag. Like, we want Coco back in his good space. But he's going through a lot. And oh my God, is Richard freaking killing it this season, man. Like, oh, every single scene that I see from him, his stuff with Hope, I mean, oh my God, it's just mind-blowing. Like, he is doing so incredible this season, and it honestly is such an honor to be able to share the screen with him this season, and to be able to build this world with him, because I admire him so much.
I have to imagine, as a young actor, this must be like something you can't even get in acting school, right? Seeing him work.
Yeah, it's crazy. The things I've learned from him, the way that he goes through his process, how committed he is to the process and to the craft, and to see him go through all of that from like an outside perspective is such a blessing, because I feel like I've gotten to learn so much, and I admire his work so much, and we've always had a very strong relationship since season 1 that we've been trying to build, and it's been amazing being able to do this with him.
I keep telling him, I'm like, I mean, and he's great really in anything that he does, but like this season of Mayans, I have been throwing, I'm like, here, take some Emmys. I'm throwing it at the TV. It's just been so good. So good. Yeah, see, people know him from American Crime, of course. He's Emmy nominated. You know, oh, let me see. Everybody just can't stop talking about how great you were last night. You made everybody cry.
Oh, thank you. There were some heartbreaking moments between Leti and Coco last night for sure. What did you think of the episode, girl? Talk to me. How you feeling?
Listen, girl, I have to sit and watch these episodes. Like my first watch is my fan watch, where it's like, I'm not writing notes. I'm not writing questions. I'm not thinking of a story or who I'm going to have on the Instagram live, blah, blah, blah. It's my first. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
What's going on?
Honestly, I want to talk about the scene where it's, you know, early in the episode and Leti goes to Coco. I hope you have an overdose and die or something like that. Can you talk a little bit about that? And by the end of the episode, how she's feeling when he actually does overdose.
Absolutely. So Leti, even though she is trying to step into a healthier, better person, she still has her Leti tantrums that we've seen since season 1. I mean, sometimes she gets very overwhelmed with emotion, and sometimes she doesn't know any better. She starts getting very angry, and she's very aggressive, and she's very, like, right in the moment what she's feeling, she's just letting it out. And as much as she's been trying to control that this season, sometimes it'll just come out. And that's what happened in that scene. I mean, she was feeling very, very attacked by Coco because she's over here sitting there pouring her heart out to him, which to her is a big deal because she doesn't talk about her feelings and she doesn't want to connect with anybody. And she's in her own world because she thinks that everybody's against her and that everybody's going to turn on her. So just her sitting there in the beginning of the scene pouring her heart out to him was already a big deal. So for him to just turn it on her and say the things that he said about her, she just snapped. And it was like, you know what? I'm over this. Like, I'm not going to deal with this. Like, I'm not doing this. So she said the things she said, which, you know, were a little harsh, but that is how she was feeling in the moment. So she, you know, she went on her walk. And then when she comes back and she is going into the house and she walks into that scene that she sees right there, the first thing that she said when she came back was, Coco, let's talk, before she even realized what was going on. So
her heart has to have dropped.
Her intentions were to come back and apologize and say, I'm sorry for what I said. I'm here for you and I want to be here for you. So the fact that she didn't get the chance to do that, like, that's heartbreaking, because sometimes we say things to people and we regret them because we're overwhelmed by anger or negative emotions in the moment. And then sometimes we don't get a chance to apologize or to really come back and say, hey, I'm sorry about this, you know?
Well, I feel like with Coco's history with, you know, with his mom, he stayed a little boy in many ways because of his trauma, but you grew up in the same exact environment. Well, Leti, obviously, grew up in that same environment. So you guys are like two broken people trying to survive. And as sad as that is, I said that to Richard too. I said, hurt people. And it makes me sad because these are two people that I feel like have really good hearts.
Yeah.
They just got the end of the stick.
I know, they really did. And as much as they're trying to make the best of their situation, sometimes they just get dragged even deeper into that dark hole. But at the end of the day, like, they're not bad people. Like, Leti just wants to be loved. She just wants to be cared for. She doesn't want to feel alone anymore. She just wants to feel like she has somebody. And like, she's useful to somebody, because at the end of the day, as human beings, we crave love. We crave human connection. We just want to feel appreciated and valued. And it's the same thing with Leti.
Our girl Zulem Calderon is over here in the comments. What's up? Our Latina trio. We're gonna have to do one hopefully next season if everybody comes back. We could do one where it's just those Latinas, and we'll invite Carla.
We should totally do, like, you know, those round tables that they do. Yes. We should totally do with all the Latinas. That would be so much fun. Yeah,
but then it would last about 3 hours, and they will have to keep trying to get us to shut up, because we'd be like, no, wait. But wait a minute.
Especially if we're in person, because we're just going to be feeding off of each other's energies, and we're just going to be like, hey.
But that's that good energy and good vibes. And honestly, like, I'm so proud to see you guys and what you're doing out there and the talent that you guys are flexing and really representing us Latinas, especially you young girls. I could be all your mothers.
Oh,
I'm
stop
very
it.
proud of all of
Oh,
you.
stop
For
it.
real. I'm not going to say my age publicly. I'll tell you later. But I'm
Girl,
proud of all
you
of
in
my
your
Latinas.
20s. Come on.
Okay. Okay. Let's go with that. Now that Sulem is here in the house, I want to see more of Leti and Gabby. You guys were friends first, and then everybody kind of doing. I want to see more of that friendship.
I know. I've gotten that from so many people, especially on Twitter. Because oh my God, everyone's so dedicated on Twitter every week, and it's amazing. But yeah, it's funny because obviously Gabby entered the show being Letty's friend, and now they're both just kind of doing their own thing. But it's kind of a metaphor to life sometimes because you know you have your friendships, but sometimes people are going through their own issues and through their own paths, and you know. Gabby's in love with Easy and she's going through that and she's trying to get her life together again now that she's reunited with her family. And then Letty's dealing with this Coco stuff. So who knows? Maybe in the future their paths might join again and we might have some stuff with them, but we'll see.
Listen, I'm here for a spin-off of Leti and Gabby who go on and like they become whatever the hell they dream of and they become badass, like even more badass, like whatever they want to be, and you know they take over the world because hello, we're Latinas. That's what we do,
girl,
right?
that's what we do. We take over the world. Oh,
Shout out to Momo. We got all kinds of cast members coming in the house here.
I love it. Momo's having a comedy show this Sunday, actually. So
I
guess
had no idea. Wait, in person or virtual?
No, in person.
Here in LA?
Here in LA, yeah. They're opening it up to the public. It's on Sunday.
Girl, hit me up. I am here.
Girl, come with us.
Look, I'm like, look, I've had my first one. Like I got one more to go. But if anybody has some questions here for the lovely Emily, I almost called you Leti, about what's coming up on the show. Well, actually, we can't really talk too much about what's coming up on the show because that will be top secret. But certainly we can talk about more things that we want to see. Let me see who else is on here. Bring the cast members in. You can put 4 in the live. Well, we don't have plans, but I will say that I got big plans for the finale episode. That's all I will say. Someone wants to know if we'll see more of you the rest of the season.
Yes, you guys will be happy to know that Leti is going to be in the rest of the season. Yeah.
I kind of like, I understand that Coco's going through all of these things, but I really want to see more about her and her advancement too.
I know, yeah, because she's also got some of her own stuff going on, so I'm interested to see how that plays out for her as well.
Okay, I know that you just did a movie with freaking Nicolas Cage.
Oh yes, I did. We actually we shot it right before the pandemic. It was crazy timing because we shot it in Atlanta, and it was literally right before the whole country shut down. I came back into LA and I was like unpacking my bags and getting all settled in, and then 2 days later, the whole country shut down, and I was like, whoa, this is a serious thing right now. And yeah, it was so much fun. I remember I got the offer for the movie when I was in Dominican Republic visiting my family, and we all were just like jumping up and down screaming because we all used to watch Nicolas Cage when I lived in Dominican Republic, and I didn't even speak English, and I would watch him on TV with subtitles. And as a family affair over there in Dominican Republic, and it was so crazy to now fast forward into me being an actress and living in this country and being able to pursue my dream and working alongside somebody like him. It was such a blessing.
Okay, but we want to know for real. Tell us what he's like. Tell me about what he's like working with. Was he cool?
Girl, he was so cool. He was amazing, like right off the bat. The first time that I met him was in Atlanta. We went to dinner before we got on set, and we just talked, we ate, and he was so sweet. He was giving me all these like Hollywood stories because he's been working for so long, so he has so much to tell and so much to talk about. And
pero chisme. Was there chisme?
Oh girl, next time I see you.
I'll see you Sunday for that chisme.
I know, right? But he was so kind and he was so sweet, and he never once made me feel intimidated or less than, and he was so welcoming. I was very appreciative to how awesome he was.
How tall is that man?
I'm 5'3", so to me,
too.
He's tall, girl. So he was pretty tall. Yeah, and he's very like, those people that walk into the room and they're like impactful, like right off the bat. He's like that. They have this aura about them that it's just like this energy that walks in with them, and he has that to him. And yeah, so he's like very intense as soon as he walks in the room, but he was super sweet.
That's magic. But I'm sure that he's telling his friends too, like, oh my God, this young actress, Emily Tosta, when she came into the room, she had this presence and this energy about her. Alguien que te manda saludos de Peru. My mom is Peruvian, so shout out to Peru.
Ooh, shout out to Peru. Saludos a Peru. I want to go to Peru so bad.
Let's go, girl. But right now it's like really bad because of the pandemic. But hopefully my beautiful country will be better soon. Somebody asked earlier, could we see Leti patch in? Patch in as a member of the MC.
Ooh, Leti riding a motorcycle? Ooh, who knows? We still got hopefully more seasons to go, right? Where we don't know what can happen. So we shall see.
A lot of the guys before. Sorry?
No, I was just gonna say that would be so interesting.
A lot of the guys, when I asked them like about like getting the role and stuff like that, a lot of them would say, I wasn't sure about if I was gonna have to ride a motorcycle. So like I started to learn. Jacob Vargas was on here, and he was just like, I had no idea how to ride a motorcycle. So I mean, you would be in good company.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I know that a lot of the guys had to learn to ride for the show for sure. It's funny because I had never been on a motorcycle. My first time being on a motorcycle was in the show, a scene that I had back in season 1. That was my first and last time being on a motorcycle. I haven't been on one since.
Well, we never know in the future. I want to see that, because I love seeing like women when they're like doing like untraditionally like traditionally male things, because we can do everything that we put our mind to, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I love about this show, and Elgin and Debbie and the writers. They're doing such an incredible job at bringing these empowered women onto the screen. And it's like, they show their darkness, they show their strengths, their weaknesses. Like they have all these multi-layered characters, and that's so beautiful to be a part of, because sometimes with female characters on screen, you don't get all of this. You don't get all of this.
Especially in this type of world.
And they're really bringing these badass female characters, especially this season. Like, that's one of my favorite things about this season. You're really diving into the female world of these characters, and that's such a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, Elgin told me when we did Around the Table, Elgin said, I wanted to show this season that this is a woman's world and we just live in it.
Oh, I love him.
And I'm like, yeah, he's so girl power, right? I love that about Elgin.
He's so amazing. It's such an honor to have somebody like him as the creator and showrunner, and it's such a blessing, especially in this industry, because you don't stumble upon people like him too often. And he has such a big heart, and he's always there for you, and he's been amazing. It's been such a blessing to work with him.
Well, what also he has brought to this season has been like
no other.
He's made these episodes look like movies, individual little movies.
Yeah, can we just talk about that for a second?
Please.
Girl, the
306,
the shots, the directing, the vision, it is like nothing we've seen before from the Mayans MC world. Let's be honest. Like, this season is absolutely incredible. It's stunning in every way possible.
TV in general, I don't see like this like level. Like this is like film level. 306, and I have said this to just about anybody who will listen, it's one of the most beautiful episodes of television I have ever seen in my life.
It's so beautiful. There's so many times, because obviously, you're in it when you're working, and you just kind of do your thing, and there's so many storylines and so many characters and so much going on, and all you can do is really read it on the page, but you don't see, like, I'm watching this with you guys, like, I'm seeing this as we go as well. So to me, it's like, every time that you guys get surprised or stunned about something, I'm going through that same emotion too as a viewer because I haven't seen any of this. So to me, watching every week, I'm just like, it's crazy because I'm not biased because this is our show. But girl, I feel like a fan, like an audience member. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen next week, girl? And I have the script right there I could go look at, but I'm just like, what's going to happen next week? Because everything has been so incredible. And I look at these shots and the cinematography, and they've done such an amazing job with everything.
And I have to like watch it more than once because each time I find something else that's new that I didn't see before. About the location, I saw somebody earlier. Somebody's wondering if you found your iPad.
I found my iPad. It's somebody.
Phone Leti, those things are expensive, yo.
Man, it is not the first one that Coco sold. Man.
Yo, and she knows. I'm like, she has to know.
Yeah.
They're like on Meth Mountain.
Man, I still haven't found my iPad, you guys. And let's be real, it's not like Leti got the money like that to go buy another one.
I want to see her dress up like freaking like Terminator level and show up to Meth Mountain and blow up, and then she finds her iPads there, and it's like, yeah, I came for my iPads and I blew up.
And I blew up, yo. That's the best part, though. You never know with Leti. You never know what she can do. Sometimes she'll just come in and hit you with a screwdriver, and you'll
yeah,
never
somebody mentioned the screwdriver. Somebody mentioned the screwdriver earlier.
Yeah, so hey, you never know.
Yeah, but the iPads, a mí me dolió that there was like 2 that were gone because like we know, I mean, I didn't grow up with money or anything, and I have like my little iPad, but I'm like, oh my God, if I lost one iPad, I will be heartbroken because they're expensive, even if you have money.
I know, seriously. Yeah, even if you have money, like iPads are expensive. So, man, shame on Coco.
Somebody was asking earlier, what is your favorite part about playing Leti?
One of my favorite parts about playing Leti is how much I get to play around with my craft. I've never played a character where I get to play around this much. Like, I've learned so much about the craft being on set with everybody. I learned so much from the guys, from Elgin, and from the show itself. And it's really like stepped me out of my comfort zone as an actress. There's a lot of scenes, a lot of moments, and there's a lot of things that I've never been able to do before in my career. So I think that's one of my favorite things. You just never know what you're going to get in this world. And especially with Elgin, like, the writing is so amazing, and he's really just making everybody go there, man. Like, everybody's giving their absolute best this season because we're allowed that space to do so. We are allowed a beautiful space to work with our characters and to work with the storylines, and that's such a blessing to be a part of something like that because it's like, it's teamwork. We're all in it together and we're giving our best together. So yeah, I would say that's one of my favorite things, how much we get to play with everything.
A lot of people have been commenting that they thought that you were gonna punch Coco, and I keep laughing about that because I'm like, did you ever feel a moment? Because I know that some people like improv, like some of the things. Sulaim was saying when we were speaking that when she kind of reprimanded Easy, like that was kind of like off the cuff, and I'm like, is there ever a moment where just like, oh, like as in the character of Leti that you just want to punch him?
Girl, yes, there's a lot of moments in the character of Leti so far, even in the 2 episodes that you guys have seen from the season so far, that were very organic, especially with Richard, because he just lets you do whatever. Like, he literally walks into the scene and he's like, hey, yo, you can do whatever, you know? And I love that because, and I tell him the same thing. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. Like, this is a safe space. We're just living in the world, and sometimes things will happen that you don't plan. But there was a moment in this last episode when he walked in that I just punched him right here. I was giving him a hug, and I was like, oh, thank God you're alive. And then I just punched him. I just went for it. And it was funny because Richard was like, because he's lost so much weight.
I know, he was so fragile.
Rosy, he's lost so much weight for the role, and oh my God, it's been so insane. Like, his journey.
Momo says he's punched Richard several times out of love.
Out of love. But yeah, there was times where, like, even before I left, in this last episode, when I told him I hope you OD and die, I went like this to him. Like, there's a lot of physicality that obviously isn't planned. It just happens in the moment, and especially with Leti. I mean, she's very aggressive, as you guys have seen since season 1. So sometimes you just go for it. But it's nice when the other actor allows that space for you to feel comfortable to be able to do the physicality of things without a problem.
Well, but he gets very much in character, because I feel like earlier in the season, when I did a postmortem with him, I think maybe like one of the first few episodes, and he was still very much carrying Coco. And then I just spoke to him last week, and he was just like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, he was back to being Richard, and I was just like, what just happened? And then like it was like, oh, like he's starting to like, since you guys are out of shooting, he's starting to kind of shed that, right?
Yeah, to kind of get rid of that and go back into himself. Yeah, he immerses himself into the world, and that's one of the most beautiful things about the way that he deals with the role and with his craft. And he'll put his headphones in, and we'll be sitting there waiting for the next shot or waiting for the day to start, and he's in it. He's so in it. It's amazing.
And I can also confirm that he is off of his like 5 almond diet, and he's back to eating little by little, so he can. I mean, he was already so flaquito to begin with, right?
Oh.
He was already so flaquito, and then there's this picture that I posted from the episode last night, and I was like, oh my God, Coco looks like Jesus.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh,
Like
hair too.
He just had like the really long hair.
Wow,
I'll show you the picture that I'm talking about.
Oh my God, you have to text me that picture. Oh my God. Yeah, it's insane because I found out while we were shooting that he was literally eating like 4 almonds a day. And like, I was just looking at him like, man, that's insane. Like, I commend you for this. That is absolutely admirable and incredible. Like the fact that you're doing that and you're going through that, your body handling those changes, like that's a lot on you. And he did it, and he killed it.
He did.
Really
Somebody's asking about is the club just gonna let things slide? So I mean, obviously we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but I did talk to Richard about that, because like in real life, there's like oh yeah, I say like a lot. So does J-Lo. Okay.
okay.
So like pero like girl, he says that in real life, if something like that happens, that it's not forgivable. He missed out on going with the club, and he's doing intravenous drugs. I think it's what specifically. I don't know if you have any insight into that.
Well, obviously, I can't share too much. We still have a few more episodes where some of those questions will definitely be answered. So I think the audience should just keep watching, and they'll get some insight on that subject for sure. But, there's a lot of unforgivable things, obviously, that he did for the club, but who knows what will happen. Maybe somebody will have a change of heart. Maybe they won't. Maybe we don't even see.
Yeah, he also stole the kilo. He also stole that kilo, girl.
Yeah, he did. Remember? Yeah, it's been tough for him. He's really immersed in this meth mountain world and the world of addiction and drugs and toxicity, and that's hard to get out of. That takes a lot to get out of.
Okay, so before I let you go, I mean, aside from being absolutely beautiful, lovely, and talented, you're also philanthropic. So if you want to give any shout outs to the charities that you support.
Yes, of course. Yes. Oh my gosh. So I work a lot with Thirst Project and Feeding America. So shout out to them. And then also my mom and I have our own organization called Cartos International. My mom's Venezuelan, so I'm half Venezuelan, half Dominican. And we created this organization to help the current political and social situation that's happening in Venezuela. I don't know if you're aware.
Of course. I'm from Miami, and we have always been aware of Venezuela.
Yeah. So what we do is we'll host events or we'll do shipments over there, but we've been able to help thousands of people with food and medicine and clothing, and it's been amazing. Actually, a lot of the Mayans guys always come and volunteer.
They're so good.
Girl, I'm so grateful to so many of them. Like I did a charity like celebrity bowling tournament before the pandemic, and all the guys came and showed up and supported the cause, and they helped us raise funds, and it's just amazing to see like the support of this whole cast and crew. Like everyone's really like a big family, so I'm super grateful because they've actually helped out a lot for Venezuela. So I really hold that dear to my heart. I'm very grateful for them. But yeah, so Cartas International, Thirst Project, Feeding America. Feeding America was doing a lot during the pandemic to help feed the homeless and the families that lost their jobs. And so many people. So yeah, there's a lot of causes that I feel very strongly about. If you follow me on Instagram, you're gonna know that because I'm
Yeah,
always over here posting and
you were serving food to the homeless, and I'm like, I'm sitting here on my couch watching Mayans, and you're out there changing the world.
oh, I love you. Come volunteer next time.
I
When
will
things open up.
I will. And I do want to shout out all, like, so many of the other guys have a lot of their own charities that they support, and they're all just like really good guys. I do want to comment. Somebody said that Coco reminds them of Juice. I don't know if you watch Sons of Anarchy, but I keep saying all the time, Coco reminds me so much of Juice in so many ways. And Juice has made a lot of the same mistakes, and we won't talk about how things ended for Juice, but
Ooh,
yes,
we don't know how things will end up with Coco. We have no idea. We have no idea.
But I did want to address that because I have been saying that I'm like, oh my god, like it reminds me so much of Juice's story. So shout out to whoever was commenting about that, because I definitely see that too.
Because you were a Suns fan too. You were a huge.
You know, so here's my Mayans, but the Funkos they don't have Mayans ones. I have my I always show my Jacks.
Oh, I love that. Who was your favorite Suns character?
From Suns?
Now I'm interviewing you, girl. Yeah.
No. From Sons of Anarchy.
From Suns. Of course.
Jacks.
Of course.
So I love this season when somebody was like, "Who the f is Jacks?" And I was like, yes, I actually really love that.
Yeah, I think it was an interaction between Momo and Rocco. I think it was the scene between them, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a few of the guys that were in that.
Yeah, I think it was Momo that was like confused, like, who's Jax? And then I remember Rocco said something so clever. I wish I would have I wish I would remember exactly what he said, but he was like, who cares? Or something like that. Yeah, I was like,
everyone. Okay, so everyone's talking about all the Suns. So people like, this was Clay. People like Clay. Others, Momo were there.
Others, okay, Momo. So he's saying yes.
So wait. So really quick, let's talk about Steve. Like he was dealing with all that stuff from freaking Hank, and I'm like, this guy has really come through this season. Can we please patch him in? Are you team like Patch and Steve?
I am definitely team Patch and Steve. I mean, this episode broke my heart with so much. It literally just broke my heart. I was like, when he was doing the burpees too, like the way that JD does them, where he like goes like this in his stomach, you know?
I'm like, I don't even know how to do a burpee.
I know.
Okay, wait. We have to shout out Opie. I see people talking about Opie.
Let me see. Yeah, everybody's talking about Opie.
I got my Opes up in here. You know, that is my season 2 press kit. It's signed by a bunch of the cast.
I love that.
And that is my Gemma. I just did a thing with her new show, and I'm like,
oh my god, such a badass character. I watched a lot of Suns to get inspiration from her because she was so badass, and I was like, I'm gonna get some of that badassery and bring it into Leti, because her character was just so amazing. She did such
and then she popped in the premiere episode, and I'm just like,
I know everyone was so excited about that cameo, and especially the previous Suns fans were so excited.
Yeah, a few people here too were asking about Chucky. There's been somebody, at least one person in every chat that asked about Chucky.
I always get asked that same question, especially because Leti and Chucky Loki had like a little friendship going on back.
I was really like shipping that friendship, like the friendship.
Everyone was shipping that friendship too. So hey, we'll see. Maybe Chucky will come back. Maybe he won't. You're just gonna have to keep watching. I'm not gonna lose my job, so I ain't saying.
No, girl. No, because we need way more Leti. We need that spin-off and all kinds of stuff. All right, I think I got to just about everybody in the chat. So I'm gonna break girl chat next week. Next week we will have Danny Pino in the house. We're gonna have Danny Pino, my fellow Miami Cubanito. Talk about all the Galindo stuff that's going on. I mean, that's another actor. I mean, all of you guys have just been extraordinary this season. I did a postmortem with Richie for last night's episode, so anybody who wants to read that, head over to ew.com. What else is there? Housekeeping. Mayans M.C. airs Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. on FX, and usually 24 hours on Hulu, but I've seen a lot of comments on here about I guess there was something happened that it didn't arrive today on Hulu.
Yeah, something like that. Because sometimes I got a comment before too that it got there at midnight, like of that day. So sometimes it'll be quicker, but I think sometimes it'll take a little bit longer. But yeah, I was hearing that something happened with this last episode, but I think it is now available on Hulu.
Yeah, everybody's all serious about watching the episodes, and I don't blame him. So I blame them. So check that out. And then yeah, so next week we will have Danny Pino. And yeah, you guys, the season is wrapping up way too fast for me, but I promise you I have so many surprises to come in the following weeks right here. Right here. Emily, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much. You've always been such a huge support for the show, and that seriously means the world. So I'm super happy that we got to do this. Thank you so much for the support, and thank you guys all for watching the show every week. And I'm super excited for what's to come for the rest of the season. So stay tuned. Every Tuesday on FX.